May we please remain standing for the opening prayer. O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our ways, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to do, and living just and true, great love to height attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Amen. Thank you, sir. You may please take your seats. Nigerian Army Medal, Chief of Defense Intelligence, both serving Army, ladies and gentlemen, you say the same.
Nigerian Army leader. Let me recognize my classmate and friend, the Chief of Defense Intelligence, General Adebayo, and my Oga, Rear Admiral Oku. Very senior officers here present, serving and retired. Indeed, it's a very rare privilege for me to stand to welcome the Chief of Defense Staff to no other base but the 10th Armed Base of the Nigerian Air Force. On behalf of all military commanders based here, officers and men, sir, you are warmly welcome to the base that indeed is a pride of the nation. It wasn't long ago that you came and the JF-17 was inducted. I'm happy to tell you that our Nigerian pilots, all four, have flown the machine. The last two of them took off this morning to use the window of good weather before you landed. I know that we are working tirelessly to ensure that we have the needed security. The Chief of Defense Staff, on assumption of office, left no one in doubt that teamwork is the answer. The whole of government approach is what can bring peace to any people. And without the needed security in our land, development will run away from us. I know that my very senior fathers here who have retired, some of you very long time ago, you are very close to the grassroots. You are here this morning on the invitation of the Chief of Defense Staff to share on a common subject that is dear to the leadership of the country, finding answers to the security challenges in the country, and also for him to be able to know how you are faring in your various places of abode. It is indeed a pleasure to see most of you, sir, still looking very good like me, and I'm proud that in not too distant a time, I will join you on the other side, and by the grace of God, I hope to look like you, strong and vibrant as a former military officer. Let me on this note, sir, welcome you, sir, to Makodi. I'm not going to preempt what you have for them, but I just want to say I acknowledge you as a commander indeed. You are a leader, you are not just a leader, you are someone who leads by example. I have worked under you as a theater commander and also as a multinational joint task force commander. I have worked closely with you. Now as my CDS, I have no choice, but I'm working under you. You have been a good boss and a friend. I can say that in front of anyone. I'm not too afraid to speak my mind in front of people that are of like minds like me. Lubo is not very boastful, but he is someone that gives his best anytime he is called upon to do so. Thank you very much, sir, for your coming, and I pray that we have a fruitful discussion. Thank you, sir.
Distinguished senior officers, ladies and gentlemen, I request we give the AOC another round of applause. Thank you, sir. Next item on the program is the opening remarks by Chief of Defense Civil Military Corporation, Rear Admiral F.F. Ogu. Sir.
My erudite and amiable boss, the Chief of Defense Staff, General L.E.O. Irabo, Nigerian Army Medal, the Chief of Defense Intelligence, our host, the Air Officer Commanding Tactical Air Command, commandants of services training institutions, directors, commanders here present, our distinguished retired senior military officers and serving officers, gentlemen officers, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. May I welcome you all to this Chief of Defense Staff interaction with retired military officers from the North Central Geopolitical Zone. This interaction is necessitated by the current insecurity in the country, which has risen to a worrisome level. The current situation requires that all hands be put on deck. As you are all aware, the Armed Forces of Nigeria is at the forefront of tackling the insecurity issues in support of other security agencies. While the country has these security challenges, the zones have trials in various amounts and degrees. It is also believed that in solving the challenges, each zone's intensity and peculiarities must be borne in mind. Hence, the need for variety of input from different stakeholders to combat them. One veritable group that is germane in preferring the way forward and that cannot be overlooked in this regard is the crop of distinguished retired military officers. This is primarily because of the training and exposure while in the service, as well as the years of experience in the defense and service of our great nation. I make bold to say that in addition to all the experience acquired while in service, the retired senior military officers can think logically and strategically in identifying security challenges in their immediate environment. They are also in a position to appreciate efforts so far in place at solving them, as well as prefer further way forward and solutions. In this regard, they can advise the Armed Forces of Nigeria on likely means and ways to tackle the challenges. Consequently, the Chief of Defense Staff programmed interaction with retired military officers at selected state capitals within the 6 geopolitical zones, and the FCT is very apt. The interaction for the Southwest Zone was held at Ibadan. The Northwest Zone interaction was held at Kaduna, while that of the Southeast Zone was held in Owerri. The interaction for the North Central is scheduled for today, and that is why we are gathered here. It is expected that this interaction will bring some salient issues to the attention of the Chief of Defense Staff and also prefer ways forward. It is a one-day parley that will entail the Chief of Defense Intelligence brief on the North Central security situation, which will focus us on the different major security issues abounding in the region. It is expected also to draw comments from participants before an interactive session that will highlight the issues as well as the way forward. I urge you all to please feel very free to make your contributions in the most distinguished way. Your contributions are to be made in such a way that will make this parley with the Chief of Defense Staff very fruitful to realize the safety desired in the North Central Zone and the country at large. On this note, may I humbly and most respectfully invite the Chief of Defense Staff for his remarks. Please sit there, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let me very specially join to welcome, even though I'm coming, but I must also very specially welcome our esteemed retired colleagues that are here this morning for this interaction. Let me say that I'm highly delighted to find you here in your numbers and to equally observe, adding to what Vice Marshal Lugu said, that you are looking very strong and healthy. In fact, when I saw your faces this morning, I said, are you sure we will not ask for permission from Mr. President to record them? But I know that you did not need to come to wear the uniforms again before you give in your best to ensure that the current problems that we have are addressed. My allusion to that fact is to say that I'm delighted to see you keeping fit, which of course has become your nature, and it's my prayer that you remain fit all through your lifetime. Our interaction today, we do not need to restate the point. The Chief of Defense Civil Military Cooperation has said it, and as well as our host, the Air Officer Commanding Tactical Air Command, which is for us to rub minds together, arising from the fact that you understand the issues that are involved. I wouldn't say you were once military officers, not once. You are still military officers, because the military, which remains your constituency, is for life. There's a reason why I've always maintained that you and I, that is, those of us that are still serving, will remain completely sold out to the defense of our nation. So the unity, faith, peace, and progress of this nation, which remains our motto, is what you and I are sold out to protect. And so it's in this light that we believe that, given the rich wealth of experience that you have, in addition to the fact that you live amongst the people, you have a lot to offer in creating the conditions for sustainable peace and development of our country. We have decided to engage with you because the military, as an institution, remain at the forefront of leading the war against every form of criminality in this country. Whereas it's the intention of the Constitution to use the armed forces to support the civil authority, in this case championed by the Nigerian police, given the threat transformation. The reality is that the military remains at the forefront. That's why across the country you find that the military is engaged in one form of operation or the other. And if we are to make significant impact, we have no choice but to fall back to you. That's why today I'd like to crave your indulgence and to appeal to you that whatever suggestions that you have, please lay bare. I know that many of you have contacted me privately, but I must also say that in this forum there is nothing to hold back. I believe that as we go into the interactive section, the closed door section, you will wholeheartedly, and of course very frankly too, speak to us. Let us know what we have not done well. Let us also know what we have done well, what we need to maintain. Let us also know what you think that we may not have thought of. Even the things that by your assessment is beyond us, we'll be glad, I'll be glad, and of course every of my colleagues that are here will be glad to hear from you, and I promise you that there will be interventions subsequently. The North Central engagement is very crucial to us because the manifestations of insecurity, starting from even this where we are now, Benue State, we do not feel proud to hear of incidents such like the one that we had a couple of weeks back in Konshisha, among several others, wherein it has become more of an area where, if you like, it has become internecine kind of crisis, wherein you have farmers and herders clashing with each other, besides the issue in Konshisha which has to do with tribal issues, to the extent that locals want to create militias that will engage and murder military personnel in cold blood. That certainly is an abnormality that shouldn't have occurred. Likewise, what happened in Plateau State, which is also part of the North Central, just only last weekend. What an aberration. Of course, the Kogi incident you know of, and all the issues that are, engaging us in Niger State, you are aware of, among several others. I believe that as we go into the interactive session, that what we need to know, what we must do, what needs to be done, you will be privileged to hear from you. So let me on that note once again, thank you for coming, and appreciate every one of you for turning out in your numbers, and I'm so eager to hear from you, and I believe that as we engage, one thing is certain, and which I like to leave with you as an assurance, that every point that you bring before us will be treated in such a manner that results will show. Nigerians certainly will know peace. Our prayer is not that we'll have a country where peace shall reign. It is that the country where peace reign, and peace must reign. Thank you, and God bless you.
Permit me to remind distinguished and distinguished invited guests are invited to the
Thank you very much for the question. First and foremost, the target audience is all Nigerians. But more importantly, retired military officers who we believe we need to engage with. And in engaging with them, there's also a message for the rest of Nigerians. The intent is that we want to let everyone know that the issue of peace and security is everybody's responsibility. And so that every one of us have one form of contribution or the other to make. And we also believe that as members of the armed forces and security agencies, that even though we lead in creating the conditions for peace and security to reign in the country, we also have listening ears. That those who have contributions to make, they have the opportunity to make such contributions. And to also say that because these issues are more internal in nature, that those who live amongst the people, even the criminals themselves, they live among the people. So it is by virtue of this interaction, by virtue of this engagement with the civil populace, that we'll be able to get the solutions to the myriad of security challenges that we have across the country. So this is the reason why we're going around, and specifically today we are here in Makurdi, which of course is the capital, wherein we're engaging with all the officers that live within the North Central Geopolitical Zone. So this is why I'm here.